right. So, where did you go when you were first enlisted, Grampy?
I was stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay.
For several years.
Yeah? What did your basic training involve?
Well, probably about everything that all basic training units involve. They give you a lot of exercise. And they have several viewing of films showing some of the kind of work that I would be expected to be doing in the military. But I always kind of enjoyed my military because they show some very interesting things. They used to in those days, they probably still do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were probably in good shape from working on the farm though, right?
Well, I like to think I was. Apparently the center that admitted me into the military felt that I was okay. Actually, I had no real big problems when I was in the military.
Yeah.
I did spend one time several weeks in a military hospital where I had some infection of some type in my body.
Yeah. What did you do for your special medical training?
Well, I worked with a dentist quite a bit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, with certain units that had special medical technicians that offered courses
Okay.
of training in various ways to care for soldiers with various types of problems.
Yeah. Well, did they teach you surgery?
Well, yeah, to a certain point. They had special officers who were graduates of medical schools
Okay.
that did the difficult medical work.
Okay.
And some of them offered courses for the GIs who might be involved in emergency situations where there was no actual medical officer available,
Okay.
so that the enlistees would know what they could do, how much medical work they could do with people that were involved in need for that type of work.
Okay. Were you still in the U.S. when D-Day occurred?
No, I was over in Europe.
Yeah.
I was either in part of Switzerland or France or Germany. Actually, I think I was in Germany at the time.
Really?
The war, of course, had already stopped.
Okay. How long were you at Camp Gordon?
I was there probably at least 2 years.
Yeah?
Then I spent some time in some of the neighboring states
Okay.
with special types of medical training.
Okay.
But I was at Camp Gordon itself, I would say probably around 2 years.
Is Camp Gordon the same as Camp Billings? Or Fort Billings, I guess? Fort?
I don't know where Camp Billings is or was.
Yeah? Okay.
Was it in one of the southern states?
Yeah.
Probably
I'll look that up.
Florida or Tennessee or one of the other bordering states in that area.
Okay.
Probably. I remember seeing the name, but I don't think I was ever at Camp Billings that I remember.
Okay. So what did you do in France before you were called to the Bastogne?
We spent, I think it was several weeks, in what they called a sort of a training camp. And they told us what other type of work we would be involved in.
Okay.
When they moved us from the area of France that was closer to the coast that led to England. But I was there, as I recall, probably about 2 weeks. And then they moved me inland to another camp that was closer to Paris.
Okay.
And eventually they moved us to Switzerland for a while. And from there into Germany. And I spent quite a bit of time in Germany and got into some real warfare there.
Yeah.
Bastogne, part of our medical unit was under German control for a while.
Really?
They captured about half of our medical unit. But I was fortunate to be in the half that had not been captured.
Okay.
I was working at a hospital in that area. But part of our unit was captured. And if I recall correctly, we're under German control for a number of weeks before they were released.
Really? So, did you experience any fighting before the Bastogne?
No, not really.
Okay.
If some fighting occurred near to where we were stationed at the time, they would let us know, and if possible, they would evacuate us or move us to another part, either of France or in some cases even Switzerland.
Okay.
And especially in Germany, when it was known that there would be fighting where we were,
Okay.
and they felt it would be wise to evacuate us completely from that area, they would do that. Otherwise, if we could still continue with the medical work that we were doing, even though there was fighting going not too far from us, they would continue to let us use our medical knowledge and experience to take care of wounded soldiers that would come in from the front line.
Okay. Oh, what was it like when the 10th Armored Division was called so suddenly into action? Were you scared at all?
Well, once, while the war was still going on in Europe,
Yeah.
all of the military units in the United States expected to be available to be called if they were needed.
Okay.
And so we, of course, kept informed through, we had motion pictures available, and we had special meetings of different parts of our medical unit that would inform us as to what was going in the other parts of the world, especially in Europe, to which we would eventually be called for service.
Okay.
But they kept us pretty well informed
Really?
during the war.
Huh. How did you earn your Bronze Star?
Actually, there was no special happening that caused me to be given the Bronze Star.
Really?
It was sort of by the recommendation of officers that we had worked with for some of them a number of years.
Okay.
And they would advise whoever was in charge of giving out the Bronze Star, they would advise to whom it would be their recommendation that the Bronze Star be awarded.
Okay.
I worked during the service with a dentist off and on quite a bit. So I'm sure before they presented me with a Bronze Star, they checked with a dental officer that I'd been working with to see if he had any reason that he felt that I should not be given a special award for my general service, not any particular thing, but just generally.
Do you remember his name?
My dental officer was Captain Louis Karasoff.
Okay.
Karasoff.
Okay.
His home was in one of the New England states, Massachusetts or some other area there. But I worked with him quite a bit, and I rather enjoyed, if I can use that term, working with him.
Yeah.
And I think he must have appreciated the work that I did and the responsibility that I could accept and the work that I could carry out, because he continued to let me keep on working with him for quite a while.
That's awesome.
Captain Karasoff.
Yeah.
After the war, after I got back to the United States, I took a little, well, I went to wherever he lived and actually spent part of a day or two, as I recall, in his home there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He passed on, probably 30 years ago or so.
Okay.
Captain Louis Karasoff. I appreciate working with him.
Yeah.
He was actually a Jew,
Yeah.
a Jewish person.
Huh.
I don't know, I don't recall if I ever was able to discuss with him the gospel. I might have at some time a little bit to some extent, but I don't recall for sure. But I worked with him for a number of years off or on. Then after the war, they took me out of working with him and sent me to some other places to do some work for a while before they sent me back to the United States.
Yeah.
Had your husband ever thought of possibly going into military?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
No.
Did you know about the Jewish persecution while you were overseas?
Let's see, the Jewish persecution. Not particularly, no. Probably our 10th Armored Division office put out a sort of a little newspaper for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that in that paper that they would make reference to the way that the Jews were handled in places where they had been captured.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I knew something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you write in your journal often of a George Oliver. Can you tell me about him?
Yeah. I got to know him. He was from another, he wasn't part of a medical unit. He was, I'm trying to think what unit he was with. Some sort of a infantry division where he worked with the rest of his units quite a bit.
Okay.
But he was definitely a believer. And I enjoyed spending quite a bit of time with him when I was stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay.
He and I would get together on Sundays and go to some church
Yeah.
that both of us thought would be a good place to go. But he was an excellent person. I don't think he was a married man at any time when I knew him.
Okay.
But he certainly liked to spend time with me too.
Yeah.
When he could get away for even sometimes a few hours at the end of a day, or sometimes a whole day at a time. We would go into some of the nearby towns and spend some time there. But George Oliver was an excellent person for me to work with.
Did you keep in contact after the war?
I did for a while,
Okay.
Yeah. But when I moved up into New Jersey, after a while I lost contact with him. I communicated with him for a while, And as far as I know, I don't know that he ever got married,
Huh.
which I guess